Hey everybody, welcome back to Breakfast with Bob from beautiful Oceanside. My name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by HOKA, Master Spas, deboer wetsuits, Premium Plus Sports, SFuels, and their new Zone Fuels that you can get a free sample of. Check that out below. And of course, our Challenged Athletes Foundation. We are sending out $7 million to 4,000 challenged athletes around the world as we speak. Our next guest, 2022 Oceanside 70.3 champion, Mr. Jackson Laundrie, joins us. How you doing, Jackson?
Good, thanks. Yeah, it's good to be here. Good to have the nice view here again, and it's always fun racing here in California. It's probably my favorite state to race in, so can't wait.
Well, what's good about this is hopefully there'll be some surf, and you guys will be able to go in the surf, and the water will be nice and your Jackson Laundrie weather,
yeah,
right?
Nice and cold.
Nice and cold. Colder the better.
Yeah.
Or you can just go out in the Speedo. You don't need a freaking wetsuit. You're from Canada.
I wish, but unfortunately they make it faster too. So
they do. Okay.
You gotta
but
wear
otherwise, you'll be out there. And then you go out in Camp Pendleton. You've got hills. You got wind. All that cool stuff. And then you got the run, which is really fast and flat and with a couple little bumps.
Yeah, it's a great race course. I love it. The bike's challenging. It's a little bit of a deceptive hard bike course, I say. You just keeps throwing something at you, a little bit of rough roads, a little bit of hills, like nothing crazy, but by the end of it, you're like, all right, like that was actually a hard bike, and that's what you want.
Usually a little headwind.
Yeah, headwind on the way back.
Miles.
Yeah, on the way back when it's getting a little later in the morning. So
yes,
it's one of my favorite courses for sure. So I'm hearing rumors that we're swimming in the harbor again, which is a little too bad. But
I know.
Hey, what can you do? It's still nice cold water.
There's cold water, and then there's supposed to be a surf advisory for tomorrow. But I mean, I think they should put the pros in the ocean, right?
That would be great. I mean,
why not?
We'd be able to handle it. I think probably they've got to have their assets, all their water assets, all in the same area and whatever. I get it, but anyway, we'll see. No matter what we do, everybody's got to do the same thing. So
exactly,
it's just a different race, and it'll be a good race no matter what.
Well, and 2 years ago, you're racing here, and you've got Ben Canute, who's won this race. You've got Alistair Brownlee, who's two-time Olympic gold medalist. Lionel, Rudy Von Berg. It was like, as you guys came flying by here, it's like, oh my God, that's a hell of a front pack. And you didn't hesitate to bridge up to the two-time Olympic gold medalist. A lot of people, and Alistair and I have chatted about this, a lot of people if Alistair's ahead of me, he's supposed to be ahead of me because he's two-time Olympic gold medalist. They can be sort of intimidated by the moment. You weren't intimidated at all.
Yeah, not that day. That day, the whole race was kind of just a breakthrough for me, and the whole day I was kind of in a spot where people wouldn't have expected me to be, and I kind of just thought I'm just gonna, I could surprise people, and I know I'm capable of being here and capable of winning this race.
No question.
So I kind of just, bided my time and waited until the last moment in a sense to really make the move, and that was in kind of the last 5-6K of the run, and it all came together perfectly that day, and it can't always happen like that, but I'm ready for another really good race here. And I think the key is that day I had a great swim. And
yes,
that
was that in the surf that day?
That was, yeah.
So you want it back in the surf?
Ideally, but last year I was third here as well, and it was a different kind of a race for me. I didn't make the lead pack. I was like a minute and some change back, and had to chase pretty hard on the bike. So and I was still able to kind of get up to the front and have a pretty solid day for a third.
Yes.
Decent run, 112, but I'll need to do better than that on the run if I want to kind of make the podium this year, because it's just going to be that much higher of a level, I think, with the new Ironman series and 80 guys and more on the line.
So will the focus for you be the Pro Series? Are you thinking of some of the T100 races as well?
I'd love to do some T100. I'm not probably going to focus on the Ironman Pro Series just because the 3 fulls is going to be too much for me. If it was 1 or even if it was 2, I might think about it, or at least keep the option open. But I'm going to focus on kind of getting into the big fields as many good results as I can, and hopefully get into the T100. They've got the T100 Alcatraz. So that would be awesome. I really want to get into that one, and maybe the Las Vegas, and whichever I can get into, I'm down. But for now, it's race well on Saturday and take it from there.
So in terms of full, have you done a full?
Just one in 2022 in Mallorca.
Okay, and that was plenty.
Yeah, well, for now. I got the experience I needed out of it, but I decided that I knew to do well in the fulls, which I believe I can and will. I just really am going to need to focus on that.
It's hard to balance back and forth.
It is. So I think for now I'm still focused on the middle distance and maybe jump into the full scene sometime over the next couple of years. But
you don't have to.
Yeah,
that's
maybe
a
not.
nice. Yeah, that's a nice position to be in.
Keep having success in the halves.
Yeah,
and the T100, then that's kind of where I'll stay.
I don't blame you in the least. And last year, what do you have? Leo Berger and Jason West, and they were like 345. You're 347. So
yeah, I was kind of in that group. Me and myself and Leo, Sam Long, kind of got away on the bike and had that gap, and then. Leo and Sam took off. Sam went out a little hot on the run and struggled in the last half, and then Jason came through in the last. He only passed me with like 7K to go, and he almost caught Leo, so he ran really, really well.
Really well.
And I think you might see something similar in this race. You're going to have some guys who can run the 108s.
Yelly.
Helligines, and maybe, Mark Dubrick's run 109. Matt Hansen, he can run really fast. I haven't seen him yet. I don't know if he's here, but
he's here. We just chatted with
Patrick Lang, and some of those guys that are going to run really, really fast might or might not be right at the front on the bike. So we'll see how that plays out. We could have that 2-pack dynamic again, or you could have a race like 22 where the contenders were kind of all at the front. But Lionel came through that year too. So
yes, he did.
It really is a race that there seems to be some guys who can just run really fast on that course, and you're not really away and clear unless you have like several minutes, because someone's going to run 108 or 107.
I was going to say, and so you ran like 110, right, when you won here?
Yeah, it was 110.
Yeah.
So that's what it'll take. It'll be you got to get off at the front and run 110 or better, or you can come off a little further back, but you got to run like 107.
107, yeah.
So
it's going to be
interesting. Might see a course record. We'll see. It's going to be cold though. Probably not really fast bike conditions.
Yeah.
So that's good though, because the slower the bike conditions, the more of a biker's race it really is. So I'd like
you'd like
to see that. Yeah, it's supposed to be 6 or 7 Celsius at the start, so like mid-low 40s. I think.
Yes. Yeah. It'll be cold.
That'll be.
Especially,
you'll get that.
Yeah.
You'll get that kind of dynamic of some guys put warm stuff on and some don't, and
you don't.
I don't. I almost did at Worlds when it was 7 degrees.
It's St. George.
Ditched it, and I was glad I ditched it, because you still warm up. It's still going to be sunny. You're going to be cold for the first 20 to 30 minutes, but then your hands warm up eventually, and they just need to work well enough to drink your bottle and change your gears. So, and operate your brakes, obviously.
Yeah. Brakes, they're overrated.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that. So the rest of last year, last year you got second at Salinas, you won Michigan, ran 111 there. That was a good race.
Yeah, Michigan was probably the best race of the year. I had some solid days, though. I would say Oceanside third, St. George third.
Gulf Coast third.
Yeah, I had a good season for sure. Michigan was the highlight, but
solid.
Didn't perform at Worlds as well as I'd hoped. I was way off the pace there.
What happened there?
Just felt a little off on the day.
Yeah.
I was a little bit flat. So 70.3 Mont Tremblant was canceled for smoke last year.
Oh, that's right.
And so it ended up being like a very long gap between races for me, something like 12 plus weeks.
Ooh.
So I was kind of like fit,
flat,
but not really race ready. And that kind of showed up in the second half of the run for me. But, and then also I was sick at the US Open, which was a few weeks prior. So that kind of just didn't really play out like I would have hoped, because those are my 2 races that I really wanted to do well in. But the rest of the year I was consistent. I had 7 podiums, and the win in Michigan was a big boost. That was just a narrow victory over Lionel by like 10 seconds. But yeah,
you always like beating that guy, right?
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't like whenever you can be one of the best guys in the sport, who's won like a crazy number of 70.3s, podiums, like insane amount. He might have one of the most wins of anyone ever.
You know what's so funny about that? I was interviewing him when we were doing Super League last year, and interviewing him from he was at home, And I'm going through the number of wins since 2014 or something like that. It's crazy, the amount of wins he has. Yeah. But he's like so self-deprecating. But what have I done this week? Like, dude, you've had an amazing career. You smell the roses, enjoy it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he always shows up. 70.3s.
Oh,
he's going to be there, and he's either going to work his way up there on the bike and be in a battle, or he's going to be close and then just claw his way back into it on the run. And
unleash it on the run.
He's got Sam here, and if he can, roll with him. And there's a couple other
Joe Skipper,
that would be good for him to work with. So that's the other thing is you're going to have that chase pack dynamic of guys who are just hungry for it and just absolutely hammering the bike. So it should be interesting to see how this one plays out. But
if they do put you guys in the surf, that will be helpful in terms of having those guys a little further back.
Yeah, that would, and it would just. Yeah, it gives them a bit of a bigger gap, and it kind of breaks it up with the mid-pack as well. Like with 80 guys, you're not going to have like a group of 30. You might have 3 or 4 and then a group of 10 or something. And so it just kind of splits things up, which I think suits the bikers well because you just don't have to deal with those massive groups.
Right.
But for me, that kind of seems to play out well where I can still hopefully be up near the front. And in the surf, I did better. So for me, I kind of want that to be able to hang in there. But
the tougher the conditions, the better it is for you.
Yeah, I like the tougher, colder races. I mean, the hot races aren't my favorite, but you kind of just survive out there. But in the cold, you can just push yourself really hard. And to me, it seems to give me energy. So that's really something I'm looking forward to.
I was looking back at some of my notes, and I was like, I think was it 2015 that you were pretty much ready to quit?
Yeah. I mean, that was before I really got started. But 2015, when I was just starting pro and just kind of figuring out, am I going to be able to make it?
Right.
Doing the Olympic distance non-draft stuff and getting my butt kicked by Cam Dye and some of those. Even Greg Bennett,
yes.
Still racing, he was just crushing me. And I'm like, this guy he's like 90. Late 40s. He was just such a veteran though, and he'd been around forever in Olympics.
And he always had that fast twitch. The guy that never went away. Yeah,
and he was incredible. And then I decided to kind of give it another crack for a year. And in 2016, I had some good racing at the Olympic distance Rev 3 stuff before I got into the long course and got some podiums there and a win. And I thought, all right, let's try, give this a try. And I was in my early 20s, like. I was just getting started and just trying to figure out if I was willing to do the work or not.
Right.
And now it's been, 10 years of putting the work in, and it does pay off. This sport rewards hard work for over years and years.
It always has. I mean, you look at our early guys like a Dave Scott. He was famous at water polo. He wasn't the genetically gifted guy.
Yeah.
But he would work harder than everybody else, and so this sport was perfect for him when he made that move. And you just every year you get incrementally a little better, a little stronger, a little
and you
faster.
Can do that into your 30s. Guys are doing a lot of best results are coming into mid 30s for a lot of these guys, and there's also young guys doing extremely well. So it's kind of interesting, in that way. But it's been a good journey. But I'm still getting better. Like this year is going to be better than last. So can't wait to get it started. Like the first race, you always have a bit of those nerves, like. You haven't raced for 4 or 5 months, and you're kind of, do I still have what it takes? And you kind of get those little doubts, and then you kind of squash them with just telling yourself you've done this for 10 years, like at a high level, and you're not going to forget how to race.
Right.
So just go back out there and have a good. As soon as you get into the race, you're like, all right, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is fun.
It's funny because I look at guys who've been around for a while, like Patrick Lange and Matt Hansen, and I primarily look at run splits, and I'm going, okay, Matt, last year you ran a 236, a 234, a 230, 241. You're still there. Patrick, you ran, 232 in Nice, a 230. You're like, okay, these guys are 37, 38 years old. The guys are still a factor.
Yeah, exactly, and they're at the top of their game. So, it'll be interesting to see what those guys who are kind of more full distance specialists, and they're probably here because it's part of the series.
Right.
So are they going to really be on it, or are they kind of saving it more for Texas? We'll have to find out, but I really think that the big players are going to be kind of the short course moving across, the Helligines, and then Sam Long's always is a factor.
Well,
and Lionel.
Last year when I watched Sam, I could tell that he wanted the bridge to Leo right away, and I thought it was a mistake. I think he burned too many matches trying to bridge on the run.
Yeah,
you just stay patient.
Yeah. So, but we'll see. Some of those series focused guys are gonna want to do well here to get the series kicked off well, and they're all in on the Ironman stuff. Sam's doing Singapore next weekend.
I know.
So we'll see what happens there, but I think he'll still crush this one.
He will. And the way he ran in Miami.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Like people were standing still. I'd never seen him run like that. He was flying.
Yeah, he can do it in all conditions. Like that was brutal heat, and here it's cold, and he'll be totally fine. So,
yes, he'll like it.
He'll be making his way up the field. That's for sure.
So you're still loving this?
Yeah, more than ever. I think this is last year was ups and downs, but really this year in the off season I sort of just decided like just do all the little things, like don't get complacent. Really focus on your swim, because all your best results come when you have a good swim. So just do that and do everything you can to just get the most out of your ability in that. And I'm swimming better than I ever have. I just focused on a little bit of different things with my technique, like not as much what it looks like and more what it feels like. And so that has allowed me to just find more efficiency and take 2, 3, 4 seconds per 100 off all the workouts I'm doing. And yeah, I mean, I did a 1500 time trial in like 17.43, which at the same time last year I for sure would have been 18:30 kind of thing.
Wow. That's
so
huge.
I've just you just find I just needed to remember what it was, because I was swimming fast back in like 2015, 16 in the pool at least, and then I kind of got away from it, and then I was just thinking about go fast, like I wasn't overcomplicating things. So kind of got back to that and just focus on feel and not so much on what things look like, because you can't. I mean, there's a lot of different swim techniques that don't look exactly the same that are effective. So for me, that kind of just was more of a body position focus and thinking keep my hips up high and do whatever I can to do that, and that seems to work for me. So swimming really well, and the bike and run are just as strong as they've been. I've had some great workouts, but if I can have the same bike and run, but I don't have to just bury myself to get myself back in there.
Yes.
It's a totally different race.
You're right there.
Yeah.
When you're right there, come out of the water, it makes a huge difference.
For sure. So that's kind of really where my mental focus is before this race, is have a good swim and do what I know how to do on the bike run and just see what happens.
And hopefully get your second win here in Oceanside.
That'd be awesome.
Love it. Jackson, thank you for always being so generous with your time.
Thanks for having me. It's been a blast.
Jackson Laundrie has been our guest. That wraps up Breakfast with Bob. My name is Bob Babbitt. Thank you so much for joining us. And check out the live coverage on Saturday. Ironman does a great job with that. Thanks, everybody. Have a great race wherever you race next.